Are you ready? Can crush us. It don't really get no better than this the podcast that you're looking for if you're really heavy into wrestling. Hosted by the Mark. Energy that's so amazing. Gotta keep it entertaining. Rep the Can Crusher Nation. Yeah, you know what's going down in the ring. Lights out when you hit a ding ding. Knock 'em out like boom bada bing. Hold it down, you can crown me the king. Gotta shout out to the Miz and Duke the Dumpster. We choke slamming everybody. Power driving, hit 'em with a face buster. Yeah, this the show you need and it ain't no need for waiting. Mark, hold it down for the Can Crusher Nation. All about wrestling and keep it entertaining. Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast. Time to break 'em, let's go. Yeah, Can Crushers. Yeah, Can Crushers. Let's go.
What's going on, everybody? This is the Fighting Spirit, Trevor Terry, and you're listening to the Can Crushers Podcast. Mark is the fighting spirit of all podcasts.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast. I am Mark, the Mark Martinez, ready for another spotlight. As I told you last week and on Saturday, it is with another member of the FTC and Art of Grappling out of Ironton, Ohio, Brox's boys, Bobby's boys. This one's going to be exciting because I know nothing about this young man. Nothing. I had no due diligence to do some homework because I thought, again, if Brox is sending him over, if Bobby's sending him over, there's got to be a story involved. So let's just hear it. So that's a generic entrance for this. It really is. And I apologize to Brent the Bolt Jaxon, but I got to hear the story right from him. But, of course, we have to do all the due diligence that we do. And it's going to be quick because I know you guys are getting ready to baste that turkey and everything. Guys, really super excited about Thanksgiving tomorrow. Oh, man, I can't wait. Dig into some turkey, some mashed potatoes, corn. Are you still a 5-year-old like me, where you take the mashed potatoes, then you put the corn on top of it, and you took the gravy on top of that, then you just mash everything together? Well, I do. Listen, it all goes to the same place. It just makes it so much more delectable. Yeah, that's a big word you never thought you were going to hear on Can Crushers. But let's do our due diligence and get to Brent the Bolt Jaxon. Guys, collar and elbow, hats, hoodies, tees, all the cool stuff that Al Snow and the Hooligans have at Collar and Elbow. Christmas is coming. You hear the sleigh bells in the distance. Go buy everything and then use our promo code Can Crushers. Capital C in Can, capital C in Crushers. Smash it together, all one word, and you'll save 10%. That's in the show notes. All you have to do is click on that link. It'll take you right to Collar and Elbow. A couple new shirts have come out for the holiday season, so make sure you check them out. Also, we have a WWE affiliate code. Listen, we're very transparent on this. Sometimes you get a discount using it, sometimes you don't. Okay? But if you're going to buy stuff for your friends, your family, kids, whatever, from WWEshot.com, use our affiliate code because it'll help out the podcast. That little support is amazing. It goes a long way. Again, we're very transparent. Some people will say you will get a discount every time. I've tried it. I've bought a few things. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But it does kick back to us a little bit and helps us out. So, transparency. Where can you listen to us? Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Alexa. The list goes on and on and on. And as Jenks forgot, IMDb. But we want to tell you about Podurama. Podurama is an app. You download it for free. And then if you want to get a lifetime membership, right now we're offering 50% off of that. Why Podurama? Because it's seamless. You're listening to it on your iPhone. You switch over to your Android. Why do you have two phones? I don't know. It remains seamless. You switch over to your computer. You switch over to your tablet. It remains seamless. Wherever you're switching and stopping during podcasts, it picks up right back from there. It's a really cool feature. And we're linked with the likes of JR, Stone Cold, Busted Open. So we're easy to find. Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast. Socials, you know them all. Instagram, Threads. Why was I going to say social media again? Instagram, X, Facebook, and Twitter, and all of those cool ones out there. Threads as well. We post, join the conversations. A lot of cool stuff getting set up around the holidays. Maybe play a few games, if you may, on the old Facebook. That's kind of our niche on Facebook. CanCrusher69@gmail.com if you would like to have your own spotlight. Listen, Can Crusher Spotlight, why is it out there? It's for independent wrestlers that want to get their word out. Tell us your story. We love hearing the stories. Tell us what you're going to do. Tell us what we have been. We've had returning people come on. They hook up. I'm really super excited. And I'm not half drunk right now. Maybe whole. I don't know. But they DM me like a year later and say, hey, I want to come back on and recap what I did later. Yeah, so we have people like that. The door's always open to have another spotlight. You have your first to tell why, what, when, how, and then come back and inform the Can Crusher Nation what is going on. Keep us rolling. Keep us going. We'll keep rolling with you as well. Yeah, so all of that stuff. All right, Brent, Brent, I apologize for just shitting on your intro. Mom, Dad, everybody's listening. I'm usually not this bad. I'm just super excited to get this out, get it to Thanksgiving and more on it so far and whatever. But on the line, as soon as we come back from hearing from Al Snow, Brent the Bolt Jaxon.
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
Hey, it's Lifeguard Ross here. There's no running whenever Can Crushers is on.
Welcome back to Can Crushers, folks. You heard how excited I was to have this man coming on the show, another FTC Art of Grappling kid, because he's younger than me, from Bobby Blaze. When Bobby Blaze sends somebody, you just latch on to it and you have him on the show. So welcome to the show, Brent the Bolt Jaxon.
Hey, I'm glad to be on. Thank you for having me.
I am super excited. Listen, again, when I get texts from Bobby, I instantly answer them. Anybody else over there can kind of wait a couple minutes, but when Bobby, it's a hotline, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Everything's going well. Everything is up. Thanksgiving just a couple days away. You're excited for Thanksgiving?
Oh, yes. I'm very excited. I have a bunch of family. Like, everybody that I see is pretty much my family, so I'm going to have a bunch of different Thanksgiving dinners.
I'm so jealous. Thanksgiving, and people are going to, if you listen to the podcast forever, everybody knows, but Thanksgiving by far my favorite holiday, because you take the marketing, the glitz and the glamour out of everything, and you get the same thing as Christmas, just with a better meal most of the time.
I mean, yeah, pretty much. You don't get the presents, but...
Right, and you don't need those. It's the family time, right?
Yeah, yeah.
The presents are nice. Don't get me wrong. I'm a spoiled, rotten 46-year-old man. But when it comes down to it, I just want to sit with my family, eat a lot, take a nap, and then eat some more.
I feel you. That's what I do.
There you go. All right, let's we don't have to rewind far because you're a young man, but let's do the whole rewind. Who introduced you to professional wrestling? Mom, Dad, Aunt Sally, Uncle Jim? Who was it?
So, my family has never really been a wrestling family. They were more of baseball and football kind of people.
You can't knock them for that, though. You can't knock them for that.
No, you can't knock them for that. Like where I live in Kentucky, my entire family are predominantly Reds fans because that's the closest thing we have is Cincinnati. But my dad is a St. Louis Cardinals fan because he went to physical therapy school in St. Louis. So it's kind of like a house divided. So I was always raised up talking about baseball, and then football was always on. So I never really heard anything about wrestling until it was I think it was kindergarten. One of my good buddies, who's still one of my good buddies today, I actually went to his birthday party. His name's JC Krantz. And,
Happy birthday, JC. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, happy birthday, JC. He wore a John Cena shirt to school one day in kindergarten. And here I am, a little kindergartner, and I see this shirtless dude on my friend's shirt, and I'm like, what the heck are you wearing?
I know exactly which one you mean now. Yes.
And I'm
It had
like,
the U.S. title on it?
yes. It was one of those where it didn't have the logo. It was just kind of like the picture of the wrestler, and it was funny. And he goes, "This is John Cena." And I'm like, "Who is John Cena?" And he's like, "Oh my gosh, how do you not know?" So we have this conversation, and push comes to shove. Later that night, I'm home, and my bedtime's at like 8, but I convinced my mom to let me stay up till I think it was 11, because it was Monday and Raw was on. And I was completely blown away by this show. Like, I loved it from the start. The very first episode I watched, actually, at the very end, was where John Cena got attacked by the Nexus.
Oh, nice. That's a great.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know the whole episode, but I know that the kind of beginning of the storyline and everything. That was a great era.
Oh yes, it was wonderful. So I grew up, like, the first episode I watched was, I believe, 2010, that era, and as soon as I got into that, my uncle Sean, who actually at this time has my very own wrestling ring at his garage where I go train.
Wait, you're young into the business and you already have a wrestling ring.
I have, not only do I have wrestling ring, but I have Austin Theory's old Lowboy.
No way.
Yes, I have Austin Theory's own old Lowboy, and I use that to train. And sometimes me and my buddies will wrestle in it, and where they're not trained, it's just goofy. And
you're helping them, as we put air quotes around helping.
yes, and we stick our little cousins in it whenever they have so much energy, and just let them get it out. But I find out that my uncle is actually a massive wrestling fan, along with all the other nerdy stuff that he loves, like Star Wars. And he's a massive wrestling fan. And so I'm like, okay, this is cool. My uncle loves wrestling, and my best friend loves wrestling, so I guess I'm going to start watching wrestling. And I started watching wrestling, and we never bought the pay-per-views at my house. So I would go to my uncle's house to watch them. I remember an Elimination Chamber, a couple other shows, WrestleMania where CM Punk fought The Undertaker. Some really good shows growing up watching that. But it was my friend JC who got me into it, and then my uncle, who I live very close to and am very close to, kept the fire alive for it. I guess it was pretty cool. So I've been around it for a while.
And now you own Austin Theory's Lowboy. My mind is blown. Boom. That's it. That's all we need to talk about on this episode. How in the hell did you get Austin Theory's Lowboy?
Okay, so when I decided I wanted to be a professional wrestler, I started begging my dad to buy me a wrestling ring. And because I'm a pretty spoiled kid.
Nothing like going balls to the wall in right off the bat. Not even knowing if you wanted to do it. I mean, we're skipping all over the place. There's no coherency of this interview already, but boom, I want to get in, buy me a ring first.
Well, I'm like, I can go outside. I've watched videos. I watched Toughen Up. I took bumps on my hardwood floor watching Triple H doing them, learning how to do them.
Oh my God.
On Toughen Up. Yeah. So I took bumps. I was like, I know how to do this. I can get into it, like really, really hot-headed kind of thing. And my dad was like, well, a wrestling ring is a big investment. That is
Yeah.
We need to wait and make sure that you really want to do this. So eventually what ended up happening is I can't exactly remember what got to it, but I had convinced my dad that I could buy the ring myself, with like yard work and all this other stuff.
Chore money,
Like
essentially. Yeah.
chore money, but also like helping people around my neighborhood, like the old couples that can't really mow their lawns. It was kind of like a service thing that I was doing, but also helping me get a ring. So I was like, I'll help cut these people's grass, and whenever I make enough money, we can go buy a ring. And I was looking on, I believe it was Monster Rings, and their rings are expensive.
Yeah, they are.
And
they are.
I thought that was the only way to get one, and I didn't know that there were any wrestling schools around here. So I thought this was the only way to do it. Like, I didn't know of FTC. I had never heard of a Power Slam Wrestling Academy. I hadn't heard of any of those.
You only knew WWE at that time, right?
I only knew WWE, Impact, and OVW. So
okay.
I knew that OVW was a school where you could train, but I thought you would have to. I thought that if I could get like a head of the game and start running the ropes at the house and watch videos, like Santino Bros Wrestling Academy is one of those I would watch. I don't know if you've heard of them.
I have. Yep.
Yeah, I would watch those videos and I would be like, okay, I can see if I can figure this out and learn how to wrestle. And so eventually it was last Christmas, my dad said that he found a really good deal on a wrestling ring. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Makes my job easier. But then he's just like, okay, we're going to go out to South Carolina and go get it. And I was like, oh, whoa. Okay. So my dad ends up taking me to South Carolina. I think it was the beginning of January to just go pick up this wrestling ring.
You had to like rent a U-Haul and everything to go get it?
No, my other uncle, he has this massive trailer that we just hitched onto my dad's truck, and we just hauled down to South Carolina. And when we were down there, it was like it was a long trip. But we get there, imagine. And I'm watching SmackDown and AW Rampage that Friday night. I'm sitting there and I'm just like super jitty because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm about to get my own wrestling ring. And
did you know it was Austin Theory's at this point?
No, I did not. I had no idea. All I knew is it was a wrestling ring, and I was super pumped. So we show up to this house in the middle of the woods, pretty much. And there is this low boy being taken apart by this dude who is like in a rush saying he's got to get to work. And I was like, we're like asking him all these questions like, whoa, where'd you get a wrestling ring? And he said that he bought it from Austin Theory's dad. A couple of years prior, before Theory, broke into the business fully.
Right.
And Theory's dad was showing him all these pictures, and he was showing me pictures and stuff like that. And I was really pumped because I was like, not only am I getting a wrestling ring, but I'm getting Austin Theory's wrestling ring. And it's this little black low boy. This guy said that he used to train and wrestle down in South Carolina. And he did a little bit of wrestling back and forth and stuff like that.
That's crazy.
And yeah, I know. It was awesome. So we took the ring back to the house, and me and my buddy Logan Jenkins, who's another one of my good buddies that I've grown up with since that age, who's also a massive wrestling fan. He helped me set it up, me, my dad, and my friend Logan. He helped me set it up, and we just set it up in our gym, and we started running the ropes, which at the time we had no idea how to do. So I have videos of us completely switching arms and bouncing off the ropes with like no fluidity. It was pretty rough, but I knew at that moment, I was like, okay, I definitely want to do this. And then I took the first bump and I was like, holy crap, this hurts.
Yeah. Welcome to reality, right?
I was like, holy crap, this hurts. But I was like, it's not as bad as taking them on the hardwood floor, watching Tough Enough. So I was like, I'm invested now. I got to do this. So I was pumped. And then my dad tells me that he knows this guy named Chance Prophet.
I know that name. Yeah.
And he takes me up to Power Slam Academy, which is like a 45-minute drive from where I live. And it's by Marshall, or it was by Marshall before they moved, Marshall University, which is where I'm going to college. So I was getting excited because I was like, okay, I can go to Marshall, and whenever I'm at Marshall, I can go train, and then I can go eat. And my dad works at Marshall, so I can just have him drive me around and buy me dinner. I was like, oh, the pieces are aligning.
You're living the high life. All of a sudden, there's life, and then there's the bolt above everybody else because things are just falling into place handed to you. And I mean that good, and good for you.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm very thankful for my dad to be able to get this stuff for me because, like, a lot of people don't get those opportunities and they have to work and, like, they have to work their butts off to get all this. And, you know, I'm kind of very blessed to have all this stuff, you know, that I'm getting.
Yeah, there's off days. There should be no off days for you then. None.
No, none. I have to grind all the time to take advantage of all of this opportunity that I have. But, you know, he takes me out to Power Slam, which was awesome. But I just started thinking more and more about, well, it is a 45-minute drive. I can get there. And the classes are later at night. And my dad was like, well, there is another school in Ironton. And I'm like, Ironton is 10 minutes away from where I live. How did I not know?
That'd be a lot easier, Dad.
I was like, how did I not know that Ironton is like that far? So my dad's like, I know the guy that owns it. And I was like, you do? And he goes, well, not the owner, but the trainer. And I was like, who is it? And he said, Bobby Blaze. I was like, the WCW guy? And my dad was like, yes. So, my dad is a chiropractor and a PT, a physical therapist.
Okay.
So he owned this chiropractic clinic a few years ago, and this girl worked there who was Bobby Blaze's ex-wife.
Okay.
So my dad knows Bobby Blaze through her and got Bobby's number and started asking about when I could train. And so I got in the ring and did a couple rolls and a couple bumps and stuff. And they sent it to me and Joe, and they said for me to come in and train. And then it's kind of led up to this now.
So how long were you kind of doing your own thing before going to a school, essentially? Even if you want to call, Chances for did you ever go to Chances for a little bit, or did you go right to Bobby's?
Well, I went straight to Bobby's. I went to Chances for one training
freebie
session.
Yep.
But it wasn't as an actual training session. It was more a watch the other ones train.
Yeah.
So
that's the freebie. Go in and see if you want to do it.
Just to see what it was all about. Yeah.
But, okay, sorry to interrupt you. So how long was it then before you committed? You signed the contract with Bobby and everything?
It took me about maybe a month to fully register what was going on before I committed to FTC, and I haven't looked back since.
And in that whole time, listen, you don't understand how much my mind is blown that you just shot in the dark, did your own damn thing. First and foremost, it shows to me that you're fully committed already, and that's crazy. So were they? I understand your dad knew of Bobby, and you knew of Bobby from WCW, but they didn't know you from Adam, essentially.
No.
Was Bobby and Brock's kind of a little impressed because you were doing something already? I'm throwing them right under the table. I love them both, but you have to have somewhat of a cop on everybody else because you were, even if half-assed, you were doing it at home.
Yeah. So I showed up for my first training, and I introduced myself to Bobby, and the first thing that Brox says when he walks up to me, he said, "Shut up and listen, and you'll be fine."
Well, maybe he should take his own advice sometimes, but
I was like, "Okay, all right, yes, sir." And from the start, I was like shaking in my boots because I was like, "I don't know this guy, and he is like already on me." And I was kind of nervous. My bumps were good. They were pretty good because I had practiced them, and they thought that my bumps were good. There was a couple things I just had to fix because I hadn't ever had the training, but for the most part, they were on point and they were what they were supposed to be. And running the ropes, I was good at that. And I cut my promo, and the room was dead silent. So whenever you show up for your first training, they have you do a warm up with them, and it's a great experience. And I recommend anybody listening to go to FTC because you get your first training free, and it's a really unique experience to get in the ring and just try it out. But what really sets the tone is whenever you have 20, sometimes 30 people standing around the ring watching you as you talk in front of them. And I had never done that before. I'm always an open person. I love talking to people, but I had never stood in the ring and had to cut a promo in front of these people. And all that I had was Bobby said, "Tell me who you are and what you want to do." And I was like, "Oh, wow. All right." And I get in there and I cut maybe a minute promo, and it was really, really good. I was really, really impressed with how I did on that. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, I was hitting all the strides. I was doing pretty well. I was a little rusty and stuff or not rusty, but just not polished because I hadn't done it before,
Right,
But
you hadn't had no matter how much you're watching on YouTube and you're trying to pull, you need that one-on-one aspect, that person to, not that they do it, but, slap you in the back of the head and say, no, right foot before left foot, or, whatever's going on.
That has happened, yes, yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah. That's unbelievable. Kudos to you. I'm already pumped about this interview. From whatever else we talk about, that you just went nuts and did this. You don't hear that. That's a gold star, kid. That's a gold star. Your head's already in the right place. I'm happy. And of course, you come with the, the Bobby, the Brox. You're that pedigree. So I know that you're not just some schlub trained by me or anything, right?
Yeah, they're really good. They're the best, and I've only ever been to them, so I can't compare them to anybody else. But they are.
I've been around a few, and I haven't been to FTC or anything yet. But just the talking and listen, I've had half of the roster from FTC now on the podcast. In fact, even Brox. But we've had those people, and you hear the same thing. You guys and gals, not. Just meaning it overall anyway, you're a freaking family. It's unbelievably how close you guys are, and that's cool because if FTC isn't doing well, and not that they're not, you guys will get that level up from all of you to put it up to the next level, and next level, and next level. It's not just a training center or an indie, it is almost like a super indie company for FTC and Art of Grappling.
Yeah. We're just a massive family, and I was super nervous about meeting all these people, especially whenever you walk in and there's a giant, massive Voodoo King just standing in front of you,
right?
And you're just like, holy crap, I do not fit in here. But come to find out, I'm very happy with my surroundings there because wrestling is one of those things where you either like it or you don't. And a lot of people my age don't like it because they just see it as this, I hate to use the F word, but fake. They see it
You
as
swore. You swore on a wrestling podcast.
they hate to, they just dog on it. Like they don't respect it or care about it. And I've always been a fan, and sometimes those words that they've said have crept into me, and it even led to me taking a break from watching wrestling for a while because I was like, I can't watch that. I didn't watch it for like a year, but until eventually it pulled me back. But these people, they mocked me for wanting to be a wrestler, and I remember my 9th grade year, I said that I wanted to be a professional wrestler in front of my class. We were doing this introduction, and all these people were saying, oh, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a dentist, the usual thing, which those professions are great, but none of those people really had the intentions to do that. They were just saying that so they could get it done.
Right.
Well, I said that I wanted to be a professional wrestler, and all these people were telling me, oh, it's fake. You don't want to do that. And I'm like, no, it's really not. It's high level entertainment that is fully real, and it is fully immersive, and it is one of the greatest sports entertainment things in the world. It's in its own category. You can't put it compared to other things because it just stands apart on every aspect.
It really does.
Yeah, it's just its own entity, and eventually it just got to the point to where I did not feel accepted by any of my peers, even the ones that would love wrestling and come over to my house to watch wrestling. A lot of them, I could tell, kind of thought that it was crazy for me to want to be a wrestler because you have to be this 6'8", massive jacked dude with zero body hair. And if you have body hair, it has to look good, and you have to have the build, and you have to be athletic. I mean, you have to be athletic, but you have to, they're painting the picture that I was not that person because I'm 5'7" and 160 pounds and suck at basically every sport, but I do all the sports because of the athleticism that it gives me.
Right.
The training that I have to go through. And to circle back around to what I was talking about earlier, coming to FTC put me in that group of people, that family that actually I could see as people just like me, people that had the same goals and the same wants, and we all came from different backgrounds, but we all came together like different branches on a cohesive tree. And it's awesome because now I'm not scared or nervous to go to FTC to train. I'm excited because of all these different people that I get to see. And, it makes it easier now if there's somebody my age, Ross. But, for a while, it was just me and all of these people that were much older than me, and not much older than me because there's some that are in college, but people that are older than me. And it was a little weird at first because I was kind of by myself, I thought, until I realized these people were just like me. And then I realized that we were all a family. It's just an awesome environment at FTC. It's great.
So Dad fully on board once, you do your wrestling thing. But when you first tell them, hey, I'm completely getting into wrestling, how does that go? They're like, no, you're not. You're the baby boy. You're not, it's not going to happen. I'm worried about injuries. Or were they like, yeah, sure. What the hell?
My dad always supported the idea, but I could tell that he was nervous. He wanted to be there and support me because he always tells me about the story of his dad, who was he was abusive to my dad. My dad had a rough home life, but his dad never believed in my dad's goals. So when my dad tells him that he wants to be a chiropractor, my papaw literally looks in his face, cusses, and says that he's not going to do that because he's not smart enough to do that. And then my dad goes, not only becomes a chiropractor, but a PT and a PT professor at Marshall.
Yeah.
So he exceeds like threefold. So my dad's like, okay, I'm good with that. I'll support you, but we want to make sure you have a plan B, you know? And then my mom, on the other hand, was not on board at all.
Moms usually aren't.
No, she was not on board at all. She was like trying to get my dad to be like, no, this isn't a good idea. You know, my mom supports me, and she was like basically in the nicest way possible saying no. You know, like she wasn't just flat out telling me no. Like she was telling me maybe I could try it, but she didn't see me as doing this, you know?
Now
And,
she's your biggest fan, helping you make merch and everything, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Her and my whole family sit and we get on the cricket. Her and my aunt spend forever amounts of time just making bolt shirts on the cricket, and I'm forever grateful for it. But my family is strapped in. My nana and my papa, my mom's parents, they were not on board at first. You know, my uncle and my aunt, this uncle is Uncle Sean, the one where my ring is at, and my aunt is Aunt Tiffany, who makes the bolt shirts. So they're both on board. They're like a cohesive unit. My uncle's like pumped about it, and my aunt's helping me make the merch. So they're all on board. And my other uncle and aunt, Aaron and Katie, they live up in Louisville, so they live a while away. But they, you know, they never really mentioned how they felt about it, but I had a lot of one-on-one gym sessions with my uncle where I was like putting him through my workouts that I do. Because on top of being a wrestler, I'm also a part-time personal trainer, and I'm getting my certification soon.
Look at you.
I know.
Having that backup plan. Yeah, you're almost like Britt Baker.
I don't know what the letters are after my name would be, but it would be like Brent the Bolt Jaxon, something.
Yeah.
But you know, they were kind of telling me that they supported me. They were just kind of nervous about that, but they were telling me that my family on my mom's side usually doesn't support like the bigger dreams. Like they're kind of more conservative, idealed about staying safe and doing the safe thing, you know? So
then you're just blowing the whole family out of the water.
Yeah, it's gone. Like there's no standard anymore. I'm just following my calling and stuff like that. So I'm doing this stuff now, and I'm training, and my friends, you know, I've got half of them that are supporting me, half of them that are just kind of like not making fun of me, but just kind of messing with me.
Well, from some of your, I was going to ask you this later, but hell, we're here. You have a pretty healthy section at your events. The couple that I've seen on YouTube and everything, you got a pretty healthy section already. So you can't say a lot of people aren't. Most of it's probably mom, dad, and all their friends and everything. But
yeah,
so the kids that are putting it up on TikTok and everything and YouTube for you, you got a great support group.
Oh yes, I absolutely do. And you know, they all told me that they would go to my wrestling shows and that they would cheer for me, and I was really pumped by that. And you know, my first show, I had about 20 of my friends show up, and they were cheering for me for the 45 seconds I had against Psych Ward in the ring. They were cheering for me, and I remember they all got it on video, and I got slammed, and that was the match. And they were like, "What? That's it? Are you kidding me?" And fast forward to a few months ago, and I'm beating the lunatic Caleb Throne, and it's getting a massive pop because now I've got more fans. You know, I always have a Bolt. They call themselves the Bolt Cult, which is
I love that.
Which is hilarious. But they're cheering and stuff like that. It's awesome. Yeah, I've got a very healthy group. I've got a very healthy amount of friends. Like on the daily, I can call about 15 guys and they'll be at my house if they need to be. It's a good thing. I've got a very healthy relationship with my parents and my friends, and it's an awesome thing because I'm living the like ideal life that a lot of people would beg for.
I at 46, I'm so jealous of you right now. I really am. I'm like, man, this kid is everything I wanted to do. But
well, I appreciate it.
Yeah. So first match, 45 seconds or everything, but let's talk about that first match. How were the feelings and everything? Because I know you've had your own first match in your own ring and everything, but this is first FTC match and all of that. How were you feeling that day? Were you like really just good to go because you knew that you knew you're good?
Not at all. I was
Thank
terrified.
you for being honest. Thank you for being honest.
I was terrified. Oh my gosh. So, I had done trainings and I knew who Psych Ward was, and I was prepared to face him, even though I knew that, it could all go sideways because it was a gauntlet match for the chance to face Caleb Throne for the AOG title at the time. It was a gauntlet match, and I just get thrown right in, and I'm like, all right, let's do this. And the whole entire day building up to it, I took my shirt off and I looked in the mirror and I was like, yeah, I look too fat. And so I went outside and I ran a 5K before the wrestling show because I had all this energy, and like I was super stressed out. So I wanted to look good, and I got a lift in before the show, and I show up and I'm in the back. I think I was the second match on, second or third, but I was sitting back there behind the curtain, and I was immediately swamped with like this feeling of, holy crap, you're about to wrestle in front of 100 people in an actual wrestling ring for an actual wrestling company. Because I had wrestled in front of my parents and my friends on like the trampoline. Like me and my friends Logan and JC, we had our own little trampoline wrestling company that we called TBW, Trampoline Backyard Wrestling. And we just would film these little videos, make these tables and put each other through them, and we'd have scars all over our bodies. And it was one of those things where I had been used to wrestling in front of people, but not really used to wrestling in front of people. It's
different.
Oh my gosh, it was a swamp of just this stress, and I had so many nerves. So before the match, before all my matches, I usually have a quick little prayer like circle with either the people I'm tagging with or the people I'm facing, if they are okay with that.
Right.
And so I'm surrounded by Wes Segura, Jordan Carlisle, Psych Ward, and I think it was just us four. And at the time, Carlisle, he's kind of a turd, being a heel.
And, he was dastardly at that time.
And Wes, he's still dastardly, so he's kind of half into it. But they agree to do that, and we all have a little prayer circle, and I'm praying. And then at the curtain, whenever it's my time to go out to the ring, I had just watched through the curtain Psych Ward chewing on, oh my gosh, it was I can't remember which brother of seduction it was, but he was chewing on one of their ears through the entire crowd.
Oh, God.
And then threw them in the ring. And it was like, holy crap, I'm going out there against that dude who I had seen walk out there with blood painted, I assume, on his face, this massive vest, and this weird looking mask that resembles Bane with like these weird contacts. I'm like, holy crap, this dude is going to eat me alive.
Yep.
And
he did.
I get out there, and in my mind I just keep thinking, crap, squash match. I'm done. Like I'm getting squashed. And I got a lot of offense in. Like I jumped off the top rope and cross-bodied him and pinned him for a 2 count.
Yep.
And I was super, super pumped because now I'm getting some stuff in, and then all of a sudden I get kicked in the face. And then I get slammed, and then I'm rolling out of the ring.
Peace out.
It was, yeah. So, I look back on that match with a lot of, happiness about the fact that I got offense in, because a lot of people would have been lucky to get offense in against Psych Ward. And,
just the way you describe it is amazing. I can feel your emotion coming out of you remembering that night, that it meant the world to you. Yeah, you have, and I'm going to probably beat this to a dead horse. I'm going to be like, God, but you have Austin Theory's ring, and you've done this, and you've done that, and you, get ready, you're going to punch me. You have a silver or golden spoon that you're getting all of this. But this is something that you did. You personally did by yourself, and nobody can take that away from you.
It was awesome. The feelings that you have before you walk through the curtain, they're like these nerves that shake all the way from your toes up to your eyelashes. I mean, you're just like, you're blinking a whole bunch, and you're stressed, and you have these cold sweats, and you're just so stressed out because you're like, what if I mess up? What if all these what ifs that just flood through your brain, and then your music hits and you walk through that curtain, and it's almost like getting in an ice bath or getting out of a hot tub in the middle of the cold. Like
Yep.
This instant wave of just this relaxation and just this feeling of being awake is crazy. And all my nerves were just gone.
That adrenaline, unbelievable.
I was still nervous. The adrenaline, though, like you said, it just kicked in, and it was indescribable, man. It was awesome.
That's great. All right, before we go any further, one of my favorite questions on the show that I do all the time, I ask who the Bold is. Who is Brent Jaxon? But I make a comparison before you tell me. Let me know how close I am.
Okay.
I see Rey Mysterio in you. And I don't know any of your favorites because, damn, we skipped over that question about 35 minutes ago. But I see Rey Mysterio. I see AJ Styles. And then Matt Hardy. How close am I?
Oh, yeah. You're pretty close. I feel like my character, I'm the light of FTC.
Yeah.
I am the bolt. Like a lightning bolt, I am a flash in the darkness. So even if I'm there for a little bit, I'm igniting while I'm there and shining. That's my whole thing.
That's your mission statement, by the way. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's me. And I was driven to be this underdog like Rey Mysterio, like you were talking about. But I wanted to be this guy that had the move set of like a Dolph Ziggler, a Kofi Kingston, or a Matt Hardy, or a Jeff Hardy. I looked to those guys for a lot of inspiration. And I never really watched a whole lot of AJ Styles because at the time I was just a WWE guy. So I had never seen a whole lot of Impact. So I didn't know about AJ Styles until he came to the WWE, because I was never an indie guy that watched indie promotions or watched New Japan or Impact. But, you saying AJ Styles definitely does, like, it definitely does resonate with me, because I'm a huge AJ Styles fan now, and it just kind of, he's a lot like what I'm trying to be.
You said Dolph too, and now I'm reliving the clips that I watched of you maybe like 3 hours before we started recording. I do see Dolph though too. I don't know why. Maybe because he's a free agent right now with air quotes around it, but I do see a lot of Dolph now. I do.
I love Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah.
Like, he's awesome.
So as we go back, tell me as you were growing up, and then we'll get into the silliness for a little bit. Who were some of your favorites growing up? Clearly Cena, because you fell in love with him just from a T-shirt.
Oh yeah, John Cena easily. He was my favorite, hands down. I literally have a picture of me and my friend JC going to my first wrestling show, and I am wearing the John Cena shirt that says "The champ is here" with the outline of the WWE Championship on the waist.
Nice.
And I've got on the wristbands, I've got on the armband, I've got on the "You Can't See Me" hat, the "You Can't See Me" chain. It wasn't the dog tags, but it was just like this very gimmicked out product that they sold on WWE that was just this chain that said "You Can't See Me," and I'm literally grabbing that chain and screaming, and it's just a picture of me at like 7 standing at the barricade looking like I'm losing my mind or about to poop my pants. So, it was just kind of funny. John Cena easily was my favorite. And, as I went on continuing to watch it, Rey Mysterio was one of my favorites. Sheamus was one of my favorites. Those 3 were probably my favorites growing up, and Edge was one of my favorites. 2010, Edge.
That Edge is probably one of my favorites. I know all the Edge, but 2010's Edge, my favorites.
Oh my gosh, Edge and Christian in 2010. They weren't like technically a team at that time. They were kind of doing their own things, but they kind of also were working together. It was awesome. So I remember watching Edge, and Edge was kind of not necessarily a bad guy, but he wasn't necessarily a good guy. And I was heartbroken when Edge had to relinquish the World Heavyweight Championship because I had only seen him for a year, and then he had to retire.
Right.
So it was kind of sad because, my favorites at the time were like John Cena, Rey Mysterio, and Edge. And it was just kind of upsetting whenever Edge had to retire.
Take a break, yeah.
So you can imagine my excitement when he returned in 2020.
Well, I was just going to say, how much wrestling do you watch now? And then we'll really get into the silly questions. Are you just still WWE, or do you dabble with everything?
So I'm pretty busy as far as like my schedule goes with school and sports. So I really don't have a whole lot of free time where I watch a whole lot of indie promotions, but whatever is on TV, I will watch. So I'm a dedicated Raw fan. Every time Monday Night Raw is on, I'm watching it. Even if that means I tune in late because of practice or turn it off early because I have a test the next day. I'm watching Raw. And then at school, whenever I have a free class, I'm watching like the Raw Talk or the YouTube digitals of that show before and getting caught up. And then on Tuesdays, I watch NXT. Wednesdays, after my youth group at church, I watch AEW Dynamite. And then on Thursdays, I don't really watch anything because the TV channel that I have doesn't have AXS. So
yeah, 98% of America doesn't get Impact. No knock on them.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. So if Impact did have like a more mainstream channel, I would watch it. Absolutely. Because I keep up with them on Instagram and I'm watching the matches that they post on YouTube.
Yep.
So Impact would be on there, but I don't get the time to really watch it on my own personal time because it's just not as convenient for me to watch it,
No, I hear you. Trust me. Yeah. I hear you. Yeah.
And on Fridays, I'm watching SmackDown and AEW Rampage whenever I'm not out with my friends or out for a football game, which the football season just wrapped up. So I won't have any more football games to go watch with my friends at high school, which is kind of sad. But I won't have that to like get in the way of my wrestling time because I would actually be downloading the Spectrum app on my phone to watch SmackDown while I'm at the game. So no, I'm very into AEW and WWE. I'm keeping up with all that, and I'm keeping up with Impact and here and there I'll watch a New Japan match on YouTube. But as far as watching everything, I really stick to the AEW and WWE.
It's a job to watch everything, just to let
yes.
you know. It
Yeah.
really is. You said no football next year. You're going to have Marshall football to watch, right?
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
going to have Marshall football to watch. Actually, last night I had my walkthrough of the Marshall campus thing. It was kind of the introduction thing. I committed yesterday, so I'm going to Marshall. And I've already gotten accepted into Marshall, which was a cool thing.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So last night was the green and white football game. And I, instead of going to watch it, I decided to go home and get in my wrestling ring with my friends. So I didn't end up going to that game, but I ended up having fun with a lot of my friends in the wrestling ring and goofing around and showing them what I could do.
As a wrestling podcast, I commend you for doing that because, yeah, that's a great thing. All right,
I had a lot of fun.
Let's take a hot second break from wrestling and get to know kind of Brent outside of the ring and not going to training and, maybe even out of school. But, like, when you get time to do nothing and you're, like, nerding out day off time, what do you do?
Yeah. Well, nerding off is the correct term because I am a massive nerd. So, in my free time, I usually, whenever I'm not at the gym and stuff, because whenever I get free time, I usually like to go work out because I have a gym at my disposal at my uncle's house. Not only do I have the wrestling ring, but I have my own personal gym.
Couldn't have guessed.
Is pretty cool. But, whenever I'm not doing that, I am a big PlayStation guy, and I'm playing my PlayStation 5, hitting all the new games.
What's your game of choice right now? If you weren't on the phone with me, what would you be playing right now?
Probably Alan Wake Remastered.
Okay.
I haven't played it yet, and that's what I just got into. But my favorite one that I've played on my PlayStation has probably been the first Spider-Man. That game is fantastic. And I loved Miles Morales, the second one, and I'm dying to get the second one, but I haven't bought it, and I'll probably just wait till Christmas to get it. So I'm swiping away from getting spoilers and stuff like that. And, Spider-Man is my favorite one. But if we weren't doing this, I'd probably be playing Alan Wake because the second one just came out and everybody was saying that it's supposed to be game of the year. And I'm like, well, I have the first one downloaded for free because of PlayStation Plus.
Yep.
So I might as well play it. And it's really good. And I'm like hooked on it right now. But yeah.
Any sports games or anything in the loop as well?
I'm a big soccer guy. I played varsity soccer for my high school, and I was actually a soccer captain, one of two. And I played soccer since I was like in 6th grade. So definitely FIFA. And then as far as other wrestling games go, usually it'll be WWE, 2K. Like right now, I've been playing in between 2K22 and 2K23. And I have AEW Fight Forever. I'm playing that one a lot. And I also play a lot of UFC. But as far as like the big three, baseball, basketball, and football, I used to be a big Madden, MLB, and 2K player, but I just ended up moving away from that. I'm more of a story mode kind of game guy. Your Horizons, Last of Us, God of War.
The big threes are. I bought this year's MLB because, not that I'm a Yankee fan, but I've always liked Jeter, and Jeter was so much involved in this one. I'm probably not going to buy an MLB for a long time now because it's been copy and paste. I haven't bought a Madden in forever. The next football game I'm going to buy is NCAA when it comes out in August.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I'm taking a week off of work, closing doors, getting like a refrigerator just to be in studio, and nobody's going to know where I'm going to be. That's it.
Yes. That's awesome.
All right, silly questions. If you could have a meal, and this isn't really silly, but I just put it in that category. If you could have a meal with anybody ever in this world, who would it be and why?
Well, you got to get the go-to. Obviously, I would say Jesus. But
It's a good
if
call.
we're talking somebody, jeez, oh my gosh, put me on the spot. Goodness, I'd love to have a meal with John Cena.
Good call. Yeah, I like that.
I would love that.
Just to pick his brain.
Matt Cardona. I'd love to have a meal with Matt Cardona. That would be an interesting
it would.
meal.
I am a huge fan of Cardona, and I love his wife Chelsea. Chelsea was the first person to see my wrestling sleeve, and she saw her lips on there. Not her lips. My God, that sounds horrible. But her logo lips. And she grabbed my arm and she's like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "I'm a big fan from when you were in the Indies and you were in Pittsburgh a lot." She signed it. She's like, "Are you going to get that tattooed now?" Sure as shit. Her lips are signed and tattooed on my arm. So, yeah.
Oh, wow.
If you could be a character in one TV show, any TV show in the world, who would you be?
Any character.
Yep.
I would love to do animated.
Sure. It's a TV show.
Okay. I'd love to play Spider-Man in the Spectacular Spider-Man.
You made this sound like I was going to actually make you an anime person or something. Like this is going to be real life. Well, can I be an anime person? Yeah, it's one, a wrestling podcast, and we're talking about anime right now. And two, we're not going to be cartoon characters anytime. But yes, that's fine. You want to be Spider-Man. Good deal.
Yes, I want to be Spider-Man.
And final silly one, but this one is actually tailored for you.
Oh.
What is one rule you live by?
Ooh. Love God, love others.
Yeah. I am so happy. Trust me, like I said, and I say this all the time, I don't do much digging on anybody.
Yeah.
But when I saw Matthew on your Instagram and everything, I'm like, I fell in love with you already because you are doing it the right way. That even if I didn't know about the Austin Theory ring or anything like this, that you love all your gracious that you are getting because of God and all of this, right?
Yeah.
I want to give you your platform if you want to talk about that at all. This is your time because it means a lot that you are so open with it.
Oh yeah. I've always been open with it, Geez, that all started that kind of walk, that faith walk. It started about, oh goodness, everybody has this day where they got saved, or they had that big day where they got baptized. But I got baptized, but I can't really pinpoint or remember the day that I got saved. But all I remember is it did happen, and I have made it like my goal to just live by that and help others along the way and show them what I've got, like show them why I'm so happy all the time, show them why I've got this joy. And that's partly where the Bolt comes from. That's why I wanted to start the Bolt, because I was like thinking about what I wanted to do, and I knew that wrestling was up there. I might follow what my dad does in PT and probably get a job as a physical therapist. And I love doing training with my friends. So I would love to be a personal trainer, but wrestling has always held a special place in my heart because you see football players like Tim Tebow who wear their faith on their sleeve, and they have the John 3:16 under their eyes. And I was thinking about wrestling, and you don't really have that. You don't have that person that wears that on their sleeve. Like, you have wrestlers that are Christians, but you don't really have the ones that openly make it their character.
Right.
And that's me. I am that character. The Bolt comes from Matthew 5:16, and also, or it's actually 5:14 through 16. I need to fix that because all my merch is 5:16. It's actually 5:15. And let me pull up my Bible app real fast. I'll read it to you and see if you can put the dots together as to what it says, as to the point of it. But it says, wait a minute, hold on.
No, FYI, I did read it 3 hours ago, but
oh, you did?
No, no. I want you to read it. I'm not stopping you, but yeah, 46 concussions and everything else. I don't remember my son's name half the time, so
that's all right.
Please read it.
It says, "You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house." And this is Matthew 5:16. "In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." So my whole character, as I said earlier, my mission statement, I am the light of the world because I have the light in me. So I'm going to let the light shine, whether I'm here for a little bit or whether I'm here wrestling on the big professional stages in a few years. Whether I'm, staying in the indies and then going on to do my own thing is, doing that job and using this as my experience, or maybe, it works out to where I'm getting that big moment and I'm up on the biggest stage in front of all the lights and everything is reflecting not down at me, but up to God. And that is my whole character, is that I am the bolt. I am the flash of light in the darkness. And that's basically my whole thing. And that was pretty much what my first promo was too, which is why everybody was so shocked as to me speaking, because I basically went up there and just gave my testimony in a minute, and they were shocked because everybody else is up there. All these other people with their first promos are like, "I want to be the WWE champion, and I want to main event WrestleMania, and I'm from Ironton, and I'm going to go home and eat a gallon of ice cream," something like that. So you've got all these people that have these like little half-made promos that are just copy and paste from everybody else. But I just went up there and told them who I was, and I was like, if I win a championship, that'd be fun. One of my biggest goals actually is to win a championship during the time that I'm graduating, so I can wear it across the stage as I'm graduating.
Yes.
Like that is the goal. If I only win one championship in my entire wrestling career and I get seriously injured and I can't wrestle anymore, the one goal I want to do is to wear a championship around my waist as I walk across the graduation stage,
so
which is in
you have about 5 months.
5 months. So I'm working on it. And if that's not now, graduation stage at Marshall,
Right. You have 4 years then.
I'm working on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Either 5 months or 4 years and 5 months.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it because, listen, from the time that we started talking, and I'm not going to release anything that I told you, so I'm going to put a little preface on that, what happened last night for me. But and throw me under the bus, I was like, oh man, I've just had a rough day, this, that, and the other thing. You are the freaking light. Because I'm ready to go run through a wall, be Shockmaster or something right now. You've built up my spirits, and it's crazy. Like, you really have won something special personally in your life that you can touch people on that aspect. Wrestling, yes. You listen to your comparisons, Ray, AJ, and Matt Hardy. So you have that. You have Austin Theory's ring. You have a lot of stuff going for you, but the best thing you have going for you is you got a great head on your shoulders, Brent. You have a huge heart. You're an amazing person. So thank you for blessing me to come on this show, and it's my show.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
That's crazy. Like you're. I'm glad that Bobby sent your name over and not Brock's, because I'd like to give more props to Bobby for it.
Oh, that Brock's guy.
Right? Bum. He's a bum.
No, he's a great dude.
I
I would
love
not
him.
be anywhere near where I am right now without Brock's. He's an awesome dude.
He is. Do you have any last silly thing, and then we'll get kind of back into wrestling, and you'll get the hard question? But I know you have an easy answer for that. Any hidden talents that are really cool?
Ooh, hidden talents.
Please tell me you can sing, so you can sing for us.
My mom is sitting here telling me that I can, and I absolutely cannot. But I did used to want to be a singer. And one of my most embarrassing moments is there was a video posted on Facebook for all my mom's friends to see and all my friends now to go back and take and send to me over and over and laugh, where I was convinced I was going to be a singer. So I soloed my sister's birthday song in a public mall at a pottery place, and it sounds terrible, but I was so convinced that I was the next star of The Voice. But no, I cannot sing worth a crap. But you know, I feel like my only real hidden talent is well, my mom said speaking. I do have.
Yeah, you're a great speaker. Yeah. I can only imagine that first promo.
Oh, it was great. It was really fun. And then they had me call out my friend Logan for my trampoline backyard wrestling match. And it is actually a really good promo. I'll have to send it to you. Voodoo King in the back goes, "Oh crap." It was hilarious because I just started calling my friend out, and it was a good promo. But you know, I've always had a good way with speaking and talking to people. Whenever I can, you know, sometimes I get very nervous talking in front of people, but for the most part, once I get settled in, I just ramble and ramble and ramble. Not like you would have noticed that I've rambled.
Not at all. Not at all. All right. This is the toughest question that we have on the show. You know, wrestling sometimes, and you kind of spoke about it a little bit, so I hope you don't give me the same answer, but has sometimes a negative connotation, that F word of fake and this, that, or the other. But there's also some stigmas around it, that there's egos involved, or this, that, or the other. There's not equality. What would you like to get rid of? If you could just whitewash something in professional wrestling, what would you like to say, get out of here?
Oh, wow. I mean, the egos are a huge part. You know, I haven't gotten across anybody whose head is too big for their shoulders yet, but I know that they are out there. And, goodness, I think one thing I would like to get rid of is the kind of negative connotations that other wrestlers give to each other. Like, I've seen a lot of stuff where wrestlers will bash other wrestlers because they work stiffer or they move too fast. I think everybody has their own pace.
Yep.
And there are certain ways that matches need to go. There are certain paces that matches need to be at, but there's no reason to drag other people down the mud or in the mud just because that they work a certain way. And, you know, that, like, whenever people will bash each other, a lot of times that comes in the most professional things too. So like in like the AEWs or the WWEs, you know that there's people that completely despise each other, maybe because they think that they're better than them, or maybe they think that they're not as good as them and don't deserve to have that spot. And that also comes with the ego thing. I just think that people need to realize that wrestling is a very inclusive sport.
It is.
I have wrestled with so many different types of people in training. Like, I've wrestled girls in training. I wrestled a trans girl in training. I've wrestled so many people of different heights, so many people of different races, so many people of different backgrounds. And I've only had like 4 matches, but I've trained against all these other people. And they all work differently. So I think instead of bashing them for that and trying to get your way to a receipt, in the ring, and instead of trying to find a way to get a receipt in a match or finding an opportunity to bad talk somebody in the ring or behind the scenes or on a podcast, I think we all just need to kind of realize, hey, this is everyone's sport. This is not your sport just because you're 7 foot tall, jacked, and can run a 5K in 20 seconds. Or, hey, this is not your sport because you are 4'2" and 1,200 pounds. This is everybody's sport. And as far as the getting rid of, I think I would get rid of the ideas of this is only one person's game.
For the big man. I love one that you were so open about that in the honesty, because I agree. I hear that a lot on every little indie circuit that I go to, that, and I'm not knocking you. Hey, what did you say you are 5'6"?
5'7" and a half,
with shoes on,
something like that.
Sure. We'll
I'm
call it that.
5'8" with shoes on.
All right. So we'll knock you, and I'm not really knocking you, but like, hey, this guy's 5'8". He barely sees over the top rope. What is he going to be able to do? Well, watch his stuff. How about take 5 seconds to watch his stuff? If you, like, in a couple of years and you have like a plethora of matches on there, watch his stuff to see what he can do. Your opponent well in advance, folks. Listen, I'm not ruining anything in wrestling here, but your opponent well in advance. Do a little homework yourself to make the show better, because you can adapt just like you. If you're going to work with somebody 7'12", you're going to look them up and say, oh, all right, I'm going to have to, do this, do that, do this.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Thank you for being honest and everything. That was really cool. All right. That's the hardest question you'll get. We'll move along.
Sweet.
Best advice that you've gotten from kind of like behind the curtain. Listen, the guy has great advice. I love him. The whole shtick of me hating Brock's, I don't. I love the guy. What is Brock's or Bobby or somebody else in the background told you, say, hey, Brent, this, or this?
While I've gotten a lot of good kind of mentorship through both members of Grappling Inc., Titan Troy and who've had their own little moments with me in the rings where it's open mat and it's one-on-one, or we're training and I have no idea what we're even supposed to do in the match and I'm just being told to work.
You're not supposed to throw yourself under the bus on this, Brent.
It's Brock's. He told me that first day when I walked in to shut up and listen and I would do fine. And that was the first thing that he told me. Firm handshake, stern eye look, like staring me down like I'm a glass window that he's just looking at somebody through, I was freaked out by him, but I still use those words to this day. Shut up and listen, you'll do fine. And that basically is the best kind of advice I've been given through FTC. I've had lots of talks with Bobby and with Troy, but that has helped me in every situation. There's been a lot of motivational talks sort of that I've had where they help me through a certain moment in a match or a certain thing through a curtain. Like if I'm nervous, they're like, listen, once your music hits, take a deep breath and you'll be fine. And that they're right. It goes away. All the adrenaline hits and you're fine. But the shut up and listen and you'll do okay. While it sounded a bit off at first because I had never really been talked to like that, like I've always had people talk to me nice and stuff because people say I'm a decent kid, so I really don't get talked to like that. But I didn't know this guy, and he just looked at me and told me to shut up before I even got a word out. So it caught me off guard. But this thing that he told me to shut up and listen, and I would do fine, helped me in not only wrestling, but it helps me in everything because it allows me to take a second and process what somebody else is saying before I speak.
Yep.
Because a lot of times people are just so quick to speak and they immediately want to put their thoughts out there. But if you take a second and just listen to somebody, you get a whole new understanding of what's going on. Like, I think it was the Young Bucks talked about their first training session where they went in and tried to do all these flips to impress the trainer, and they were basically looked at bad because they thought that they were being show-offs, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It helps me realize that instead of trying to present myself first, I need to kind of read the room and understand what is being presented before I approach the situation. And that helps me in everything. So I would say Brox has given me a lot of help in my school and even on the soccer field, just from the very first thing he told me whenever I showed up to training.
Yeah, that is, and it's listen, not hear, because I can hear a tractor trailer going by my house, I can hear the dogs barking, I can hear that, but I'm not, I don't know what they're trying to tell me. It is the listen part that means so much, because it was, and I'm not pinpointing you, but you're here right now. It's your first day. That is a slap of reality. He's got 900 years in the business because he's that old, and he just wants to teach you.
Yeah, and I'm some jittery 17-year-old walking into his training.
Right.
Who he probably thinks my head is too big for my shoulders, which it is sometimes. But walking in, he probably thought that I was just somebody that was there that week and gone the next.
Right.
And he was just trying to get me to listen. And it has stuck with me. And that was all the way back in February. And I know that's not that long ago because everybody has these years in wrestling where they have the same thing that they've heard all this time ago and they hold it with them. But for me, that was the beginning of my journey, was back in February. And it's November now? Jeez. But it's November now. And, it's still stuck with me. And, I'm very thankful for him to say that to me on the first day, because it really woke me up and helped me see, and I still hold it close.
But it didn't just help you. We're really putting Brox over here, by the way, kind of patting himself on the back for 5 seconds. But it didn't just help you in wrestling, because that shut up and listen translates to the soccer field. It translates to school. It translates to life, because people talk every day.
Yeah. I went to a Rio Grande University soccer camp over the summer, and we played all of the best teams in the area. And here we are, a team that couldn't win anything a few years ago. And I'm a senior, so I'm put in the spotlight. And all these people were looking down on me on the field because I screwed up a lot. But I just had to hear them out and, kind of realize, okay, we're in the middle of a game. Their adrenaline is high. I just made a mistake that costed us a goal. So they're going to be upset because they worked super hard just for me to throw it away. So I kind of have to back up and understand what's going on before I speak. And that really helped me, because I actually remember a moment at that training, at that camp, where one of my friends, he's a good friend of mine, but what he said was he called me lazy and pathetic on the field.
Oof.
Yeah. And I was about to just fire off in his face. I was about to be like, listen, had you not missed that tackle, it wouldn't have gotten back to me in the first place. I play defense. So I was like, had you not done this? But I immediately thought of Brox, no joke, telling me to shut up and listen. And I sat there and took the insult and just said, okay, I'll fix it. And he just looked dumb. He just looked dumbfounded.
Yeah.
because I guess his immediate reaction was, or his immediate thought is that I would just fire back at him.
He was maybe looking for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Because this was like our fourth game of the day. We were tired. We were running on cafeteria food, and we were running on maybe 5 hours of sleep because all the little freshmen were running around the entire dorm all night.
Children.
So, yes, children. Oh my gosh, I've got so many funny things about them. But, it was that moment where Brock's words actually stuck with me. And I kind of had to sit back and listen and understand, okay, he's upset. I'm just going to handle this and just kind of love on him a little bit and let him go. Because he didn't mean that.
Right.
And, we're still good friends to this day. And he gets mad a lot and says things like that. But I just blow it by because some people will take it to heart. And, while it hurts sometimes, I'm understanding where they're coming from, and I'll just blow it off because I know that they have their good times even though they have their bad times. So I'm going to be there for their good times.
Right.
Even through their bad times,
I do. All right. 2 more little things, and then we'll let you go. I know I'm already keeping you a little bit longer, but you're content with it. I know.
Fine.
Yeah. Goals for the rest of 2023 and in 2024. And I know you're going to say dark match, WWE, AEW, but listen, Rome wasn't built in a day. Slow your roll. So, yeah.
Well, I would just like to, I honestly don't think I'm ready for that. I'm not ready for a dark match. I'm not ready for a WWE match. I would love the opportunity and I would love to do that. But I think the goals more like it would just be to get more matches in and get more time in, because I missed a lot of time getting in the ring during the fall season where I played soccer every single day. And now where I'm entering high school wrestling for the first ever time, we just got our first ever high school wrestling team. I'm going to be busy till about 5:00 every night and then going straight to wrestling training. Or FTC training right after school and right after high school wrestling. So I'm going to be beat, but I want to get more experience in the ring. And I want to get to wrestle more people that I haven't gotten to wrestle yet. It's just one of those things where I'm excited to see what the wrestling business has to offer. I'm excited to take advantage of the opportunities that I have. And I think probably the biggest goal I would want, I would love to win a championship. I would love to do that, but I would just like to continue to get a couple more W's on my belt. And if I don't get more W's, I would like to just get more good showings where I'm actually pushing myself to be better and not just putting on little matches that can be blown away where somebody goes and buys popcorn during them. No, I don't want to be a popcorn match. I want to have people invested. My goal would just be to work on my craft and to get the moments when I get them.
I love the humbleness. I really do. In 5 months, your number one goal for 2024 is you need a title to walk across the graduation stage.
I'm so hopeful that I can pull off an AOG victory, or I can get myself a tag team championship win, something like that where I grab that title. But if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I'm in a bunch of clubs and stuff anyway, so I'll have stuff dangling off of me as I'm walking across. But a championship would just be, it wouldn't just be the icing on the cake, it would be the whole cake.
It's the chef's kiss. It really is.
Yeah. I mean, that would be the ultimate goal. But as far as the main goal that I'm focusing on right now is just to get better. I just want to be respectable.
You got a great head on your shoulder. You're going to get there. And then we're putting together your dream match against anybody that's ever wrestled. I want to know where you want the match, which stipulation, and who.
I know this answer right off the top of my head. WrestleMania 28. Okay.
Okay.
Because that is my favorite WrestleMania. I want to wrestle Dolph Ziggler for the Intercontinental Championship in a tables, ladders, and chairs match.
I knew the ladder was coming. I didn't know you were going to make it a TLC match. I just had an inkling the ladder was coming. Once you said Dolph.
I love ladder matches.
Nice.
But TLC is just...
Oh, so much more.
It's so much more. You know, you get a ladder match, like these Money in the Bank matches, and they are just fantastic. They're just pure carnage. But, like, a TLC match, you think of, like, the Hardys and the Dudleys,
Yes.
Edge Christian. You think of not only carnage, but organized mass chaos. And it is just...
That's the way of putting it.
It's awesome. And Dolph Ziggler has always been my favorite in-ring worker. Like, I love so many different types of wrestlers. Like, my favorite luchas and my favorite high flyers. I could put them all in different categories, but my favorite wrestler is Dolph Ziggler. My favorite wrestler. You know, I love John Cena. John Cena is my favorite, but Ziggler is... He would be my dream opponent.
I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it anywhere in a TLC, you and Ziggler.
That would be so much fun. But I got to get on the level to perform with him first, because it would be an honor to share the ring with him, and I'm not ready for that.
He's waiting for you. He's taking a little bit of a break. He's going to do his comic tour. He's waiting for you.
Well, let's hope so.
Or he's going to AEW rather quickly, but I don't know.
Go tag with his brother.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But maybe by the time this comes out, he's already there. This is your time now. Tell us where you're going to be, socials, if anybody wants to join the Bolt Call, the all your stuff. What do you got going on?
All right. So I've got a YouTube channel, which I haven't posted on in a little bit. I took a little bit of a hiatus after I kind of got embarrassed joining Caleb Throne and Edgar Craven, and then I had to fight Titan Troy and Brox Boulder. I kind of got embarrassed, so I took a long hiatus from YouTube. But I do have a YouTube account, which I will start posting. I'll actually post my next match on YouTube, and it is Bolty Brent.
Okay.
That's my YouTube.
I love that.
And I think that's also my Instagram. My Instagram for Brent the Bolt Jaxon, is Bolty Brent. Both of my socials are Bolty Brent. And if you want to find me on Facebook, you'll have to look me up under my real name, but we're not going to disclose that right now.
Yeah, don't do that. If it's your real name, do not. No, I would have edited that out. So, nope.
Okay. Yeah. Facebook, not Facebook, but Instagram and YouTube, Bolty Brent. That's where you can find Brent the Bolt Jaxon.
If somebody wants merch or wants to join the club, will you ship to them? Do you have any 8x10s or anything like that on the market yet?
Well, I don't have a market to like sell these things online or
no, I meant if they DM
like
you
that yet. Oh, if they DM me.
Yeah.
Now, that potentially could happen.
Okay.
I don't know a whole lot about how to do that yet, but whenever I find out, I will post it and be like, hey, I'm going to sell shirts or stuff if you want them, because people love my shirts. I was used to these, like my fan club, my Bolt Cult, quote unquote, wearing my shirts. But then at the last show that I did, I saw people showing up that I had no idea who they were wearing Bolt shirts. So, whenever I find out how to do that, that is going live, and I will be blasting that everywhere, and people can get them. But right now, they're going to be on sale at the FTC shows. I have my own little merch section that I set up, usually next to Grappling Inc. and Sarah Bubbles and Bobby Blaze, where I sell my merch.
And Mom's working the merch table for you.
And Mom and Aunt Tiff are grinding away on the cricket.
You got to throw. You have to put mom over because number one
Oh,
fan
yeah.
and your CEO of the company.
You
Essentially,
gotta put every family member over.
right.
So,
Brent, this has been a
yeah.
blast. Thank you for coming on.
I really appreciate you having me. I've had a lot of fun. Maybe even more fun than on hitting the ropes.
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
This is Amber Rodriguez, the plague doctor, the mad esthetician, and Can Crushers podcast just got perfect like me.
ladies and gentlemen, that was Brent the Bolt Jaxon. Let me tell you, second Marshall kid in about 2 spotlights. Maybe I'm getting a little love for Marshall University a little bit. It's never going to overtake Pitt. That's not going to happen, but maybe that's a university I'd like to, go browse around and meet up with some of my fans and, wrestlers that hang out at Marshall University. But we're a wrestling podcast. You couldn't tell sometimes on Saturdays, but this kid's got his own fucking ring. What? That's amazing. And it's Austin Theory's X-Ring? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I love it all. And I didn't say this during the podcast because I wanted him to see how many he does. I love the shout outs to all his friends. That's really cool because giving back because he knows, his boy, JC or, so on and so forth are there with him and they're always just going to be pushing him to do better. Like, that's the dad moment that he just kept giving shout outs to people. And I love that because he knows it takes a village, right? I was going to say Rome wasn't built in a day, but he also knows that. He knows that, listen, he's not signed next year to WWE, AEW, Impact, or anything like that. He knows step by step what he needs to do, branch out a little bit, and then continue to grow. Great head on his shoulders. Listen, when Brox and Bobby send over these kids, they're like handpicked. They're like, hey, we don't need you hitting the ropes or anything like that. We need you doing Can Crushers Wrestling podcast to get the word out about you. So Brox knows. Oh boy, does Brox know. I'm going to be seeing him in a couple of days down at WrestleCade. So super excited to get punched in the face by him as him and Bobby listen to this on the way down to Winston-Salem, North Carolina, I am sure. But yeah, listen, Art of Grappling, FTC, you want trained, head there. They do it right. They will take care of you. They treat you like family. Go back and listen to any of the other ones that I've had on. Sarah Bubbles, Brox's, Jordan Carlisle's, Reese Ramone's, and the list goes on and on and on. The Brothers of Seduction, my favorite tag team, and the uncrowned tag team champions there at FTC and Art of Grappling. They will all tell you the same story. Unbelievable. Brent the Bolt Jaxon. Keep your eye on this kid. We'll have him back in the near future to see what he's done. Guys, happy Thanksgiving. Okay? Eat everything you can. Enjoy the holidays with your family. But remember, just because you're trash doesn't mean you can't do great things. It's called a garbage can, not a garbage cannot. Make sure you tell your loved ones you love them, because you never know.